Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Building a Nation, the Analysis Days. It is the Season 8. Feels like ages since we've actually done one of these analysis because we didn't have one for Season 6 or Season 7, but it's good to be back analysing all the bits and bobs. So, as always, firstly, we're going to just go through the squad, then we'll go do the team stats, the player stats, and then we'll get into the individual comparisons, because I am very, very much looking forward to doing some of the comparisons this year, because I think we might be in for a few surprises. Also, quick side note, since this is literally the first thing you're going to see after the final day of the season episode, I was just reviewing some of the footage already uploaded, and I feel like some of the edits in the most recent episode were a little bit janky. I just wanted to explain the reason for that, and unfortunately why I was unable to re-edit it. That's more of a stupid part of my thing. Essentially, I just got a new mouse to help with editing, so I've got a lot of macro buttons on it, and they're more accurate in terms of timing than my keyboard is, and as a result, the chopping is quicker than I'm used to, so I need to adjust to that and just allow myself a little bit more time with the button presses. It allows me to edit much faster, but the accuracy is something I'm still getting used to, so it should be fine for the next episode. I just need to key it in a little bit more and adjust some of the settings on it, and I should be relatively good to go, but it's actually halved my editing time, so that's really, really nice to see. So yeah, that's just the explanation as to why. Unfortunately, the reason I couldn't re-edit that one is because I accidentally deleted the face cam footage, which was really stupid of me, but I was trying to clear up some others, and I deleted the wrong files, and I couldn't get the bastards back, and otherwise we'd have an entire episode without face cam, and I figured that, one janky edited episode is probably a bit better than having the entire episode without face cam. So again, apologies for that. So Leandro Albarracin, what an absolute lad this guy. He's actually considered the best player at the club at the moment. He came in, I don't know how much he cost us. It wasn't a lot of money, if I remember. It was minimal. £750,000 he cost us, which is an absolute bargain for this guy. He's got an average of 7.72 in the league, 1 goal, 7 assists in the league. Considering he's only got 6 crossing, imagine if this guy could cross a football. Genuinely, if this guy could cross a football, he would be an absolute world beater. He's only 20 years old. He's the best player at the club, and he's had a brilliant season. And he's actually listed as a wonder kid. It's the first time I've actually seen a player listed as a wonder kid in this save. That's really not, well, for us anyway. So that's Albarracin. Moving on. Herman Carballo has been sensational this year. I saw a lot in this lad, and it's taken him a little while to adjust. Like last year, I saw a decent amount, but I was a little bit unsure because he did score a few goals. But this year, he's been tremendous. In the league, 10 goals, 3 assists, and the Champions League as well, 3 goals in the Champions League. That's where it's really coming to his own, in all honesty. The fact that, 42 appearances is fine, but he's got 13 goals for us this year and 4 assists. When you compare that to his previous sort of appearances, he had 23 appearances in the league that year, only got 4 goals and 1 assist. Though he did get some Man of the Match awards, but this season he's been vastly better than that. Sure, with lots more appearances, but getting into double figures for us is a sensational performance. Very much reminiscent of Bartosz Wisniewski. So pleased with that. Well done, Herman Carballo. Might still look out for other players in this position though. Moving on, Zviggy, good old Zvigs. 21 appearances, 17 goals, 12 goals in the league, and 18 appearances and 1 off the bench, 3 assists. What an absolute lad. Sure, we played a few games in the Champions League, didn't quite cut it, but I think in future, interestingly, they've readjusted it again. He's only going to get better and better at the moment. He's got 7 under-21 caps, 6 goals for the under-21s. I'm just training this guy. Still only 16, remember. There's a lot of weight to put on one lad's shoulders. Vasil Al-Khatib has obviously been out on loan, so, we can't really comment too much on that. Everton Escobar has come in, has played 8 appearances, but all off the bench for us so far. He's got a goal. We'll see how he does playing some first-team football. I feel like he's got a real good future here, but it's a case of, we've got to bed him in slowly. He's not really played a great deal. Falcao has been out on loan. Can't really talk about much with him. Wojciech Wjarczyk, 14 league appearances, 6 goals. Not too bad. It's just that, as you can see, he's just really dropping off the pace a little bit now. Great value. He's played 115 times for us and has got 49 goals, but he's just so inconsistent. He scored 6 goals really, really fast, and I don't think he scored for 8 league matches or something before Vigawa just came in and took his spot. And unfortunately, he's just not quite been able to cut it. I mean, he's still got goals this year, but I don't know. I just don't think that old Wojciech is going to quite be cut out for playing in the top flight. And he might be a player that if there was a reasonably sized bid, considering his value is 2.4 million, he might be a player that could potentially move on and earn a lot of money. But I don't know about that. I like to keep him around for sentimental reasons. Ruben Franceschi, what can we say about this guy? Absolute legend. 32 league appearances and only conceded 12 goals. 21 clean sheets in that period. I mean, he actually conceded more goals in 8 matches in the Champions League than he did in the league in 32. And weirdly got better rating in the Champions League, presumably because he made more saves. But, he's just brilliant. We really don't need another goalkeeper anytime soon, that's for sure. Alberto Freitas. hasn't really played a lot. Couple of starts, couple of substitute appearances. He's one for the future, but I think there's a lot to like about this guy, particularly with Mane leaving. There's going to be a lot more room for him next year, it's fair to say. Jacobo Garcia came in midway, and I think this guy is an absolute boss. He is just, despite the lack of consistency, he's actually got around, wonder kid as well. 6'4". Yeah, huge fan of this lad. 3 goals, 3 assists so far in sort of half a season, which is pretty good for the player playing in that deep line playmaker role. Normally they don't. I'll be very interested to compare him to the others. That's kind of more of the big deal here. Jan hasn't really featured a great deal. Few appearances in the league off the bench mainly. Got a goal, got an assist. You know, he's one for the future again. Definitely a squad player for now. Jonathan Giovagnoli has had to play a fair amount just due to rotation and stuff. He's been all right, done all right in the league. Got an assist. Obviously been better for the defensive side of things, you'd imagine. But again, we'll come back to that. Jorge Gomez, I don't think has made any appearances yet. He joined in. He's available for loan. We'll probably get him loaned out next year and whatnot. Ibon Oriondo has been out on loan at Zag. Przemysław Yamrog, 26 league appearances, a goal and 9 assists this year. Brilliant. It's amazing to think that he's only made 87 appearances in his entire career so far and still only made 56 for us, despite the amount of money that's moved around in his entire career. But he has scored a goal in every single season that he's played for us and also for Rakov. That was nice. Still love the guy, obviously. Oh, hello, potential cap. Maybe he's not as good as we thought. Interesting. Kevin, obviously, has done brilliantly out on loan at Vidjev this year. 6 goals, 5 assists in the league, in the Fortuna League. That, to me, is actually pretty damn impressive. He will definitely feature for us next year, I feel like. Mateusz Konefal, 1 appearance in the league, 1 substitute appearance. He's just not quite been able to feature in the team as much this season. He might be one that will look to move on, perhaps. Dariusz Kucharski is a similar sort of story. He's really poor on the consistency. Couple of league starts, few in the cup, but not a great deal more than that. Elton Lopez, mainly been used as a bit part player this year. I still want to do the comparison with the goalkeepers, though, to see the real differences between them. Domingos Mane, he's made a few appearances, 9 starts in the league, 3 off the bench. He will be leaving to join Spurs, though, in the summer, and that's all right, really. I like the guy, I do, but the thing is, he had a £1.8 million release clause, and he kept trying to make me sell him, and the problem is I didn't want to sell him for 1.8 million because it was bugger all, and he was useful to have around, so we just kind of, strung him along for 2 years and just eventually had to let him go in the end. But, I don't know, I think we can find another player of reasonable quality. Mikalski, didn't know. Did he even play for us this year? No, he's been on loan at Cracovia. Playing a reasonable amount, but not really doing a great deal. Milos Nikolic, I've got to say, right, considering he's been a massive backup to Albarracin this year, he's still done all right. 3 assists in 6 league starts is not bad. He's got the crossing and the dribbling. I think he's done all right. I really want to compare the two and see who's actually done better. Juan Orozco, no actual starts for us this year, mostly just off the bench. He came in at midway through the season. Still a long way to go. Look at that, 20 jumping reach. He's a springy boy. Edwin Palacios, another of the midfielders, mostly substitute appearances. But again, 3 goals, 2 assists this year. Not too bad at all. Still plenty of room to grow for him as well, the young Colombian. So, yeah, fan of him. We've got so much quality in that area. Uroš Pandurovic, huge. I've got an asking price of this just so that we can reject stuff automatically and the clubs hopefully won't bid any more than that. He's got like a £30 million release clause. He does have a cap for Serbia now, but again, this year he's been sensational. 2 goals, 1 assist, 34 appearances for us in the league, an average of a 7.46. The guy is an absolute god, and that is totally fine by me. Patino as well. I think he's done all right this year. It's the first time that we've had a defensive midfielder that's really, since Gorka anyway, stuck to that role and actually performed well. I do think we need more depth in that position, though. That's the one area you can really see that we're lacking in depth quality here. Victor's the only one we've really got, and I want to sign that in that position. Absolutely, something we're definitely going to be looking for. But Patino is good for now. Again, asking price is low because people want this player, and I prefer to not let that happen. Kane Pavey's barely featured this year, only off the bench because we had so much quality. That's fine, though. He'll go back to Bournemouth. He's injury prone too, which is why I would never really want him to come in. Attila Pinto has been out on loan this year. He's got 8 goals and 5 assists in the Fortuna League for top of the table Zag, so fair play to him. That's not bad. He might be able to feature for us next year, or just go out on loan to one of these other sides. Victor Hugo, what can we say? 33 league appearances, 23 goals and 7 assists. He has been sensational this year. This is the performance that we've wanted from him his entire time. 34 goals in 61 league appearances. That's more than a goal every other match. And this year it's been vastly more than that. Really, really happy with his performances this year. It's been sensational. When you look at his other full season for us, 11 goals and 26 with the 7 assists. This year, 23 goals and 35. Still got the 7 assists, but 8 man of the match awards. He's surely going to win player of the season. Hugely happy with that. For £3.8 million, he's our record signing, but I feel like he's definitely been worth every penny of that, like, no doubt about it. Rafa Rodriguez, if we could get this guy back on loan next year, I will be ecstatic, because he has been freaking amazing. 14 goals and 15 assists this season. That is tremendous. We're going to have to, if we can't get him back, I'm going to use him as like a template to go and find someone else that has similar kind of ability, if we can do, basically. He's worth £18 million, so there ain't no way that he's joining us anytime soon. But let me look at that. 14 goals and 15 assists is truly ridiculous. 61% shots on target as well, and an 8.01 average rating. He's probably going to win player of the season, actually, to be fair. Turatsky's, of course, been out on loan at Chornicianka. Sasa Shiliak, good old gluten-free, hasn't played a great... Actually, no, he started 15 matches, amazingly. I guess he started the first half of the season. But you can see the difference between him and Garcia. First half of the year, Shiliak got 1 goal in 15 starts, whereas Jacobo Garcia's got 3 goals and 3 assists. There's definitely an added level of quality there. But Mr. Gluten-free can play a bit deeper if we need him to. So he's a useful versatility player. Victor... is it letting us do it? Come on, Victor. Go on. There we go. Victor, my man. Okay. His potential seems to be dropping, which makes me think that maybe we could potentially move him on, particularly as he's not that high. He's not very tall. And I do want, because we've had some bids. Obviously, the asking price is that, but he's got a higher release clause. I might try and get a club to trigger that release clause of 2.8 million, because we'd make a lot of money on the deal. And I don't know if he's going to go that far with us. So I might try and sort something out with that. I don't know. Victor Luis. Big fan of this guy. Hasn't played a great deal this year, but he's definitely got good for the future, and I'm all right with that. He's scored a goal in the league off the bench, which is all right. Haldor Christens, I love this guy. Haldor Christian Vitharsson, 20 years old, still got that full 5-star potential, amazingly. 4 caps for Iceland. He's not really had much of a chance for us this year, but he does just keep plugging away, sticking around the squad. Potential still seems high. In the Cup, he's got 2 goals in 3 appearances. He's played in the lower League Cup. He's played in the UEFA European Under-21s, which is not bad, actually. A goal and 3 assists for Iceland in there, too. I want to get him out on loan next year, because the problem is all the bids for him on loan are all coming from non-Polish clubs, and I really want him to go to another Polish team next year. But if it comes to it, then I will loan him out to a foreign side, but I really want to keep him in the country so that we can get more out of him for the league overall. Vinjevic, what an absolute lad this guy is. Truly an insane defender. 4 goals and 5 assists this year. 49 appearances for us, coming up to 50 caps. Really, really nice. Look at the physicals on him. He's a monster. I just want to keep hold of him forever. Atanas Jordanos, of course. I feel like he could have been brilliant for us this year if it wasn't for that horrible injury he got early on. Like, when you actually look, he got a hat-trick in 1 match, he got a couple of assists. He definitely could have had a good career, or not career, but a good season if it wasn't for the injury. Janusz Zaborowski, he's probably going to be on his way out fairly soon, you'd feel like. But still, he got a goal and 3 assists this year. He did what he needed to do when he was called upon, and fair play to him. He's got 105 appearances for us, the 24-year-old, who did, in fact, come through our youth academy. So that's always really, really nice. We need to make sure we've got those guys around. And we're back to Leandro Albarracin. So, now let's go look at the team stats. This is going to be interesting. So, possession-wise, right up towards the top. I do want to be getting the top on that one fairly soon. Penalties taken, we scored 6 out of 7, which is better than it used to be, that's for sure. Headers 1, down in 10th, not surprising there. Headers 1 ratio, though, 62%, that's good. We want to be, the lack of headers 1 is fine, but I want to make sure that we're near the top on the actual, in terms of the ratio of headers 1. Not too bad on the old yellow cards as well. At one point, we were dead last in this one, but we had a sort of, the last few, at one point, we'd only conceded like 14 yellow cards, but we got a bit more foully towards the end. No red cards this year, which is brilliant. The form bit is completely irrelevant. Goals, 91 goals scored. That's surely our best goal scoring season by a country mile. What's that, 17 better than Lechia coming in second? Rukon scored 24. Cross completion, 16%, topping that out. Lovely old job. Crosses completed, 341. Yes, lads. Goals from corners, only 7. Could have got a couple more there, but that's all right. Direct free kicks, just the 3. But I feel like with Zvigawa on them for the whole of next year, we should be able to get 3 or 4 from there too. Indirect free kicks, average, that's fine. Pass completion, we're right out there with 83, but I feel like we can keep improving that over time. Passes completed, Gornica are a very passy team. They're basically just us on steroids. Chances created, 85. I'm very interested to see who's created those. Shots on target percentage, 47, really nice. 330 shots on target. The conversion ratio is 12. Rakov, that's probably why Rakov were able to be up there, because their conversion ratio was so high. We've been fouled a lot, which is a bit better. Dribbles per game, 10. Mostly Rafael Rodriguez, I'm guessing. 16 goals conceded in 37 matches. That's ridiculous. Literally, the next best is 22 worse off than us. The reason we were so good this year is being just defensively stable. And I think this basically comes down to what I was saying a couple of seasons ago about how I feel like to defend in the way that we do, we need height and power. And having signed into that, I really do feel like that's the reason we've been so miserly at the back this year. Conceded from corners, 1. And we know where that was because that was in the Lech game, when Daniel Lech scored against us. That was the only corner goal we conceded this year. Direct free kicks, none. Indirect free kicks, 2. That's not bad, is it really? Only 3 goals from set pieces this year conceded. Much, much more like it. 23 clean sheets. Only Legia can't even come close, and that was actually still way worse than us. Fouls made. We're not very foully. Good. Tackles won. We're not winning a lot of tackles because we got the ball so much. Only Gurnik have got less. Tackles won percentage, though, 88. Really, really nice. Penalties conceded, a couple in there. Rook, bit 2 penalties for me. Average attendance still only 6,500. Really got to sort that out. Average attendance by capacity, to be fair, 92%. So we just don't have a very big stadium. Stadium sellouts, we've had 8. That's not bad. Rakov, no wonder they've done so well with the season they've had. Bloody hell. And they've got the pretty small cap, I'm guessing. Highest attendance? In fact, they've got the smallest ground in the entire league, it would appear. So yeah, our highest attendance is of course maxed out. Even when we get our stadium increase, which should be next season, we'll still be 14th best because it's only going to be 8,500. Lowest attendance, Katowice. Not a huge surprise there, but they've got a lot of money. Our lowest attendance isn't too bad though. Net transfer spend, well, no surprises there that Katowice have spent 6.6 million pounds. We've only spent 6.5 million. Down at the bottom, Lechia actually made 8 million pounds. So yeah, now salary, still very interesting. We now do have the 5th highest salaries in the league. So we've taken quite a jump over the past season, but you can see though that GKS, newly promoted side, have the 2nd highest salaries in the entire league. They really should be performing better than that, but you can see they have got a secure financial situation. They're bankrolled, so I expect them to just keep signing, and I think they're going to be a real force to be reckoned with in the future. And I genuinely think a couple of seasons down the line, they actually might be our biggest rivals in this division if they keep signing the sort of players that they have been. So now let's take a look at, is anyone insecure? Good, no one is. That's really, really nice to see. Let's take a look at the player stats while we're here. Come on, there we go. So appearances overall, Carballo has made 37 out of 37. Wow, he's played every single league game this year. What an absolute lad. Games won, he's won the most with 27. No surprises there. Games lost, obviously we're not going to have anyone on there. Arkadiusz Gorka, he's made a lot of fouls, fair to say, whilst playing for Arca. Arca, playing for Arca. Lovely old job. Przemysław Yamrog is the worst for us with 5, which is not bad. No red cards for us, of course. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to do at all. Red cards, no, we want Player of the Match awards. Here we go. Victor Hugo up there on 8, but Rodriguez and Albarracin have 5 each. Even Zvigawa's got 3 down there in joint 15th, but, you know, runaway leader, of course, is Victor Hugo. Distance covered per 90 minutes. This is interesting. We should have someone on there too. Yeah, Rafael Rodriguez is up there. Ferrer gets around a bit as well, doesn't he? Good lord. Average rating. This should be just saturated with us. We have the top 7 players in the league. Rodriguez, Vinjevic, Albarracin, Victor Hugo, Zvigawa, Yamrog, Pandurovic. Even Carballo's down there in 17th, and even Patino, a defensive midfielder for us, is down there in 19th. Insanity. Headers 1. Go on. There you go. Vinjevic, 177. Goals scored. Wow. Victor Hugo, 23. Rodriguez, 14. Zvigawa, despite only starting 18 matches, is the 5th highest scorer in the league with 12. Carballo's in there as well in joint, what's that? Joint 10th with this 10 goals as well. Zvigawa is going to be the man. These 3, if we can get Rodriguez back, that'd be insane. Interesting though, Victor Hugo actually has a better goals per minute ratio than Zvigawa, but Zvigawa still would probably be well into the 20s if he plays a full season for us. That's the way I'm looking at it. I think he'd probably be getting about 23, 24 goals himself if he plays a full season. Rodriguez in there too, Carballo in there as well. Shots, no wonder he's got so many goals. He's got 136 shots. Zvigawa, 82. Carballo's taken a lot of shots, which means his conversion ratio is probably quite poor. Holy shit. Victor Hugo's hit 77 shots on target. What's the percentage-wise? Go on. Rodriguez at 60, Victor Hugo at 56. If Zvigawa could get his shots on target ratio into the mid-50s, I think he could be absolutely lethal. Conversion rate, anyone at all, Rodriguez, 25%. Victor Hugo at 16 is still very good. Team goals, Herman Carballo has been on the pitch for every single goal we've scored this season. Mental. Penalties-wise, Victor Hugo's grabbed 4 out of 5 and Zvigawa scored 2 out of 2. Nice to see. Rodriguez, comfortable. 15. Yamrog, 9. Albarracin, 7. Victor Hugo, 7. Even Vinjevic is on there with 5. Here we go. Key passes. Rafael Rodriguez, 63. Carballo, 44. Victor Hugo, 30. Oh, and there's Jacobo Garcia. That's interesting. He's only played half a season, and yet he's already got the joint 13th highest key passes in the league. Like, take this for what you will, but he's essentially played exactly half a year. If we can extrapolate that out, he would be on 48 key passes, which would make him the second highest key passing player in the entire division. That to me suggests he might actually be the key to making us that little bit better, or that quite a lot better. What about chance creation? Is that kind of playing out there too? No. So Rodriguez has created an ungodly amount of chances this year, twice as many as anyone else in the entire league. Carballo with 11 his own. Yamrog's created 6, which ain't too bad. Pass completion. No one, yes, Patini with 90 and Franceschi with 87 is good too. Cross completion doesn't really mean a great deal because I wish it would only focus on wingers, but most of these guys are like free kick takers and stuff, so it doesn't really count as much. Dribbles per game, Victor Hugo, interestingly, has the most at 2.83, but Rodriguez is in there too. It's nice to have a few players up there offside. I'm amazed we've got any, really, because we don't really have strikers. Team defending, wow, this should be dominated by our players, I would have thought. There we go. Palacios, wait. Oh, right, I was going to say, yeah. Palacios has only been on the pitch for 7 goals this year. But more even than that, right, this is a big telling point. Rafael Rodriguez has only been on the pitch for 9 goals conceded, yet he's played 30 matches. That is mental. You can see Franceschi up there as well. We've only conceded 12 goals with him in the team in 32 appearances. Vinjevic, Albarracin, Yamrog, Victor Hugo. So it really does seem like that lineup is really interesting about that, but that might just be because he's played a lot of stuff off the bench. I'm really looking forward to seeing the comparisons between the number of goals we've conceded with Rafael Rodriguez and Zaborowski on the pitch. Mistakes leading to goals. None for us. Lovely. We're going to have some mistakes from Yamrog, I expect. Albarracin's made a fair few. Key tackles. Albarracin's made 6. Very nice. Key headers. Vinjevic, 49. Interceptions? None. That's fine. Headers 1 ratio? None at all. Have they just not won that many headers? That's really low. Okay, interesting. Shots blocked? None at all. Fair enough. Conceded? Ruben Franceschi. He's only conceded 12 goals this season. Mental. 21 clean sheets compared to Königsmann with 14. Saves held. I mean, he's only held the ball 28 times. And of course, saves parried. He should be right towards the bottom of that one as well. Very, very nice. Right, let's move into the real meat of this now. The actual player comparisons. Oh boy, this is going to be good. Okay then, so it's basically Franceschi versus Elton Lopez. Now, we don't have a huge number of metrics for this, but the main one we can look at is team conceded per 90 minutes, and in all honesty, Elton Lopez hasn't been that bad. We've only conceded an average of 0.02 more goals with him in the team, but what I would say is that Franceschi just seems to have, 41 appearances. That does include Champions League, though. That's what I would say. So the fact is, Elton Lopez has only ever played in the league, whereas Franceschi has played, like 12? No, not 12 Champions League games. He's played at least 8 Champions League matches, and that is really going to buff that stat up. So the fact that he's still conceded less goals overall per 90 minutes, even with the Champions League matches, suggests to me that he actually probably is still head and shoulders above Mr. Elton Lopez, who does want to leave, so we'll probably move him on. But I am going to look for another backup goalkeeper, although we do have Iriondo, so maybe we'll keep him around next year and make him the backup. But I might stay on the lookout anyway. So that's fine. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just move straight on to centre-backs. Okay, so centre-back analysis. The first thing to note is that we're really, really stacked in this area with decent potential on literally everyone as well, which is very, very nice. These guys have all played a decent amount. I didn't include Konofal because he's not played enough minutes and matches for this to make sense. Freitas has just about done enough so we can still take him seriously. And also people like Kraviec, I didn't play for us this year. So, pass completion, we'll just take a look at this first. So best pass completion is Freitas, but everybody is within a reasonable amount, which is really, really nice. Mane is at the bottom, so again, he's leaving, remember. Vinjevic and Pandorovic in there too, but Freitas, good to see that he's actually dominating a stat. Not dominating, but he's winning a stat, which suggests to me that, and he's got the resolute personality, remember, that's quite important as well. Because I'm looking at Freitas for next year to get a lot more game time, to be basically the Mane of next season, and it's good to see that he's capable of really, really good passing play. So passes completed per 90 minutes. Again, he's dominating that one as well. Pandorovic doesn't play that many passes. So team goals per 90 minutes. Vinjevic and Pandorovic miles out in front of everybody else. Freitas, we don't score a lot of goals with Freitas in the team so far. Don't know how relevant that is, but you could see how much better we are with Vinjevic and Pandorovic. That Serbian centre-back pairing have been absolutely flawless this season. Just brilliant. Key passes per 90 minutes. Vinjevic, again, really is the passer of the two. Like, he's weirdly got less pass completion, but he does complete more passes, and he loves a key pass too. And in fact, double the number of Pandurovic. Freitas hasn't actually made any key passes. Maybe that's down to the number of minutes he's played. I don't know. So he's definitely passing the ball around a decent amount, but we're not doing a great deal with it. Maybe he's just, I don't know, being sensible. Right, here's a quite important one. Team conceded per 90 minutes. Pandurovic, 0.61. Mane and Vinjevic both relatively close together as well. So Pandurovic really does seem to be the standout of those guys. We score less goals than his teammate with him in the team, but you can see that Freitas, there's a bit of a drop back to him, so he's not quite on their level just yet, but I don't think he's that far off, and we don't know who he played against, so there's definitely some factors in there as well. But what I would say, though, is he has won every single tackle he's made, which is nice. Vinjevic at 94 is head and shoulders again above the other two. So they kind of give and take. Like, we're a bit better defensively with Pandurovic, but he does win less tackles, so he's obviously doing other stuff too. So still doing fine, though. Interceptions per 90 minutes. Freitas actually is not bad at intercepting, and again, Vinjevic is dominating that one. Pandurovic is a bit lower. It's weird, actually. Vinjevic definitely looks like the better of the two defenders, in fairness. Like, his passing is slightly worse, but we score more goals with him in the team, concede a tiny bit more, but he wins more tackles, he's a better interceptor of the ball, he's better in the air as well. But that is a key factor as well. You can see that Freitas is decent in the air. 77% for our centre-backs is decent. Vinjevic not too bad. Pandurovic, again, just slightly lagging behind on that one. Mane, slightly even worse than that one. Just looking at the average ratings as well, Vinjevic has been the best this season, and that kind of pans out nicely, really, when you actually look at it. Like, we score more goals, he creates more chances, he wins more tackles, he's better at interceptions, he's better in the air, so it would make sense that he's put in a solid performance this year. Pandurovic has still done really, really well, take nothing away from him, but I do think that Mane, you've got a player that's 2 years his junior, Mane's going to be leaving, I think Freitas is perfectly ready to step into his shoes, but I do want to sign another centre-back in the summer, so we've always got 4 that we can rotate around, particularly if Konafal leaves as well, which I fear he probably will, but I really do want to start bringing through Alberto Freitas, because he's got that resolute personality, he's exhibiting a lot of signs that suggest to me that he could definitely be a Vinjevic type player. If you look, he's got the assist, he's got the tackles won, he's got the headers won, he's got the passing as well. I think he could be the perfect partner for Vinjevic later down the line as things stand. But they're all still very, very young. Vinjevic is the furthest along with his development as well. He is 23 years old. The others are all younger than him. So it's sort of like classes coming along. So the general kind of rule I'm looking at here is probably with Mane leaving, Konafal potentially leaving as well, I want to sign another young centre-back to potentially go in there and be our second choice with Alberto Freitas. So we've got a rotating 4 centre-backs, which is what we want. Probably, hey, maybe it'll be another Serb. We've got 2 Serbs and 2 Portuguese players right now. So let's go and look at the fullbacks. This is going to have quite a few players involved, I sense. Okay, actually wasn't as many as I thought it was. So we've got Albarracin on the left, we've got Mikolic in behind him, we've got Yamrog on the right with Giovagnoli in behind him. In theory, what we should be seeing is Albarracin dominates everything on the left, Yamrog dominates everything on the right. They're all relatively similar in ages, so that's good. There shouldn't be too many differences, but maybe we'll see some surprises. This is what I'm kind of curious about, because Nikolic does have that extra crossing and dribbling ability, and it's very apparent, but he just doesn't have the other stuff that goes with it. I feel like we need a hybrid of Albarracin and Nikolic, and that might be the perfect footballer in this case. So, let's go for assists per 90 minutes. You could already see Nikolic at 0.35 is dominating Albarracin. He's got 4 assists this season. You feel like if he plays the number of matches that Albarracin's played, he'd more likely to have double figures. In fact, maybe as much as 12 assists this year. So there's definitely something there about the fact that he's got that increased crossing and dribbling ability, that he's clearly able to put in better situations. Yamrog massively dominating Giovagnoli. No surprises there. No huge issue with that. Chance created per 90 minutes. Again, Nikolic is absolutely dwarfing everybody else in that role. Once again, Yamrog is outperforming Giovagnoli, so Yamrog is definitely looking like he'll be starter for that role next year. Giovagnoli, I might move on. But again, Nikolic is again creating more chances per 90 minutes. In fact, more than double the amount that Albarracin is creating. So again, that does, and obviously Albarracin would have played against better opponents a little bit, but still, it's worth noting that. Now, interestingly, pass completion, Albarracin does have better pass completion, but he's just not creating so many good chances, probably because he's dropping the ball off to better players. But again, Yamrog just slightly better than Giovagnoli, so he's won every category so far. Nikolic, a fair amount off, but it isn't really the be-all and end-all at this point. Key passes is probably more important than that. So Giovagnoli actually has the most key passes. In fact, 1 per game is very interesting. Albarracin still slightly lagging behind in terms of Nikolic. I feel like he'll probably dominate the defensive side of things, but not the attacking side. Yamrog is losing massively on the key passes one, though. Dribbles per game. Nikolic, again, absolutely dwarfing everyone else. Yamrog much, much better at the dribbling than Giovignoli. Giovignoli's more of a defensive fullback than a wingback. Yamrog doing his job nicely, and again, Nikolic really looks like a good wingback, to be honest. It's interesting how much better he's been. Cross completion, again, Nikolic 23% compared to Albarracin 16%. Giovignoli does slightly better than Yamrog, but not by much, but so far Nikolic has won every single attacking category. Right, defensive side of things, this is where things should switch the other way, in theory anyway. Giovignoli 47 because he's better at defending things. Again, Albarracin 0.57, and you can see there's a huge jump back, so we're much worse defensively when Milos Nikolic is in the team. Albarracin is a much better defensive player than he is a forward thinking player, almost undeniably so. In terms of tackles won, Nikolic has won 96% of his tackles, though, which is what I would say. Giovignoli's been woeful in the tackle this season. Absolutely atrocious. Interceptions-wise, Yamrog, decent. But again, Nikolic has actually won the interceptions battle, too. So his defensive stats, not awful, but he is much worse in the air. 68% compared to 74%. Yamrog's actually been excellent in the air this year and has actually more than matched a guy who's clearly much taller than him. Giovignoli's 6'5", and Yamrog is 5'11", and yet he's managed to win a serious amount of aerial challenges. This is interesting. It really is interesting. It sort of suggests to me that Albarracin is doing something else. And in fact, Nikolic, other than we're being a little bit worse defensively with him in the team, is a vastly better player for the attacking side of the game. What that suggests to me is that we need to give him more game time next year. Him and Albarracin rotating around. I'm not going to be afraid to take Albarracin out to bring Nikolic in. I think we're sold on that wing. We've still got youngsters coming through. Might look for young players, but I don't think we need to do much more in that role. I feel like we've got two excellent players in that role. They're both the same age as well. It's just that current ability on Albarracin is obscene, in all honesty. I think, however, on the right-hand side, Giovignoli, he's done all right, but he really does get left behind in a lot of the attacking side of things. So I feel like Yamrog, starter next year, although a bit concerned about the fact that his potential might be starting to get capped. We'll see what he's like when he turns 22. But interestingly, the average rating of Giovignoli is actually higher, and he's got 2 Man of the Match awards, so he does do something. He's just more from a defensive standpoint, I think. I do kind of feel like maybe not moving him on, but maybe bringing someone else in to really boost that area. We do still have Siratsky, and we do still have El Khatib as well. So we'll see what happens when they come back from loan and what the kind of landscape looks like. If I can find someone really good, I might go and splash someone at this kind of ability level, or maybe near abouts that. Maybe we'll go with that, because remember, we've got 18 million in the bank, so I don't know. Anyway, let's go and look at defensive midfielders. We've got to basically compare Patino to Victor at this stage. Okay, so DMs, it's going to be tough because Victor has only played 500 minutes, so we can sort of read into this what we will, I suppose. So, firstly, pass completion. Slightly better. 91% is very, very good. Take nothing away from the lad. But he's not outperforming Patino by much, so it's a relatively negligible amount. He's also completing less key passes per 90 minutes, so Patino winning that situation hands down. Tackles won, once again, they are very, very close. He's slightly better, but it's, again, a negligible amount. The issue here is there's a huge gap in terms of Patino cutting the balls out, and I think that's because he's cutting out balls with his head. He is much, much taller, as we'll see from the headers won. 10 key headers to 0, 71% one in the air to 47, and that to me is why he's been vastly better this year. Aerial challenges per 90 minutes, or that's aerial attempts, so that's not really that important. But again, he's going for more balls in the air as well. Team conceding, we concede way more goals with Victor in the team, nearly double the amount of goals. And that says it all, in all honesty. He does get around the pitch a little bit more, but it might just be that he's having to do more work because of that. I think Victor could probably move on in the summer if we can get a decent bid, and there's a lot of Brazilian clubs interested in him for reasonable money, so I might put him out there as available and see what kind of happens with that. Patino has definitely got that position locked down for now, but I definitely want at least one more player that can sit in that role and rotate around. Ideally, I wouldn't mind signing 2 more, so we had real quality and depth. Or a player that can play both in there and centre midfield, but accomplished, fully natural in those roles. So I definitely need to go after a DM. That's my main priority right now. A right back would be very nice. Backup goalkeeper maybe, backup centre back maybe youngster. But the real big money that we need to spend right now is definitely on another defensive midfielder. That's an area that we absolutely need to strengthen. One area that we definitely don't need to strengthen though is in the centre of midfield. And we're going to come on to that now because there's going to be an absolute goddamn free-for-all. Okay, so I've kind of narrowed it down to the 5 players that have actually played a reasonable amount of minutes this year. Vitharsen, it can sort of take that with a pinch of salt because all his appearances, I believe, were in cup matches, so maybe ignore that one. But we've got Orozco, see how he's done off the bench. It's Palacios, gluten-free, and of course, Jacobo Garcia. So, goals per 90 minutes. Vidarson, obviously, because he got 2 in one game. But Palacios has done all right there. Garcia's not too bad. But you can see that Celiac has definitely lagging behind a little bit there, whereas Palacios has played it. This is interesting. He's only started 8 matches, but he's got those 3 goals off the bench. Not too bad, to be honest. He's really showing a little bit, the 2 Colombians that we've got in the midfield. They're putting Celiac to shame at the moment, it's fair to say. And when you look at the assist side of things too, Garcia is definitely out there, but again, Palacios is not that far behind him, and Celiac is much further behind, and is 3 years their senior. He might actually be the kind of player that we could move on for big money in the summer, because I just don't think he's quite doing what he should be, which is interesting, really. When you look at the fact he's got great passing and great vision, he's decently tall. I don't know, he's just not quite getting what he should be out of himself, essentially. What about pass completion? So, again, Palacios and Garcia, 90, 89, 88 for Celiac. Orozco slightly lower. He's not far off the pace, but he is still off the pace. Chances created per 90 minutes. A similar sort of situation there with Garcia, Palacios, and again, Mr. Gluten-Free lagging behind there. Orozco's done all right, though. By that, I assume it means he created a chance. Cross completion is irrelevant for this, really. Passes completed per 90 minutes. Celiac does complete a fair amount. Jacobo Garcia completes less, but that might just be because he's more dynamic and he's actually just putting stuff down. Key passes is more important. Palacios, again, Garcia right up there together. Orozco slightly higher, and again, Celiac sitting way much further down the list again. I think this is telling me all I need to know about, unfortunately, Mr. Gluten-Free here. I think he's definitely out of this club in the summer. He's not living up to the stats that we need. And I've clearly shown here that Garcia is, for me, the best one. But he's, but Palacios is right in there as well. And he's very, very capable of doing a job much, much better than Sasha Celiac, unfortunately. And we don't need 3 players in that role, really. Not when we've got Juan Orozco, who's much younger too, around, and Vidarson, who can do a job too. And you can sort of see that the potential's capped at 22. He's just fading a little bit. So that's very important. Tackles 1 ratio. Palacios 100%, Jacobo Garcia at 82, and Celiac 95, so that's not too bad. Interceptions per 90 minutes. He's done all right on the interception side of things, though. Garcia and Palacios. So that is kind of interesting. Presumably, that's because he's a much better defensive player than the other 2. He can play as a defensive midfielder, whereas Garcia absolutely cannot, and Palacios absolutely cannot. So he's clearly better at intercepting stuff. What about headers 1? Garcia, not too bad. Garcia's definitely got that height. Palacios, that's one area where Palacios really does lack, is his height. I think he's not particularly tall, or he's just not very good in the air. No, he's 5'9". He's a very diminutive player for the middle of the park, whereas Garcia can win balls in the air as well. And Celiac can do that, but he's just not got the quality with it on his feet, it would seem. Palacios, that's one area where he will be outclassed, is he's not great in that aerial dominance. Right, how are we doing defensively? So, Garcia, 60. Celiac at 64. Palacios, we do concede more goals with Palacios in the team, presumably because he's not winning those aerial duels in the midfield, and it's allowing us to lose the ball a bit more in those areas. That has to be said. Okay. Average rating. To me, this goes without saying. Jacobo Garcia, 19 years old. Next year, he's going to be our starting centre midfielder. He's only going to get better, it would seem. He's had a really, really good half a season with us since he joined in January. And we've been a lot better, as you can see from the scoring, since he joined. And he's got 3 goals and 3 assists. He looks really good. Palacios, definitely sticking around the club as well. He's only 19 years old as well. He's not as good as Garcia, but he's bloody close. I'm on the fence about gluten-free. If a bid comes in that's reasonable for him, I might consider it. What's he actually worth right now? £1 million. How much did we pay for him? I think we paid quite a bit, didn't we? 1.8 million for Celiac. So, if the right offer came in, I would be tempted to sell. If not, I'm happy to let him stick around for a little bit, because he's on a lot of money too, at 10 grand a week. And I don't want him to get an international call-up, because that'll probably trigger even more there. And remember, we've also got Juan Orozco, who will definitely get more game time next year as well. And he is certainly no slouch. 6'3", brilliant in the air, good passing, good vision. I still think that... And he's younger as well. He's only 18 years old. I kind of feel like maybe Celiac's place in this squad might well be completely... I don't know. I feel like he's probably 4th choice, perhaps. And that might not be enough to keep him around. For now, we're not signing another centre midfielder unless I found someone that's godly. I wouldn't want to make that a priority at all. But if he'll stick around unless there's a decent bid comes in for him. If there is one, I will bite their hand off, though. We've never had any bids from him in the past. There's no clubs interested in him at the moment either. But maybe we could put some feelers out. Maybe set an asking price of, say... That's not what I want, is it? Transfer status. What do we do? Asking price of... maybe £2.5 million. We'll see. If no one comes in for that, I would just be interested to see if there's any. Plus, he's got that lack of consistency, and that might be causing the problem too. So that's CM's. Really, really pleased with the way they've done this year. That's what I would say. So moving on to attacking mids. Okay, so we've got quite a few. Now, some of this is going to have to take with a pinch of salt, but I'm still interested in them. We've got 3 Brazilians here, Escobar, Luis, and Gian. Then we've obviously got Fijarczyk, my man, Carballo, and of course, Zvigawa. I would include Jordanov, but I just don't think he's played enough, and he's not going to be back next year for this to even be relevant. So this is what we're going to go with. In theory, Zvigawa should be really compared to Fijarczyk for the most part, but we'll just kind of compare them all. But we've got to remember that they've been playing slightly different roles. So firstly, goals per 90 minutes. Obviously, Zvigawa out there in front with his 12 goals this year, but Carballo, not too bad. Fijarczyk isn't actually that much worse in terms of goals per 90 minutes than Carballo, but remember, Carballo's played as the attacking midfielder rather than the shadow striker. So Fijarczyk needs to really be more compared to Escobar and Zvigawa. Escobar I've often brought on as the shadow striker in games. So they're both lagging behind Zvigawa, but Wojciech Fijarczyk sort of third in that kind of ranking. Assists per 90 minutes. Escobar, again, has done well, but hasn't played a lot. Jan's done decently. Zvigawa with 1.04. Fijarczyk lagging behind on that one as well. He's got, Zvigawa's got 3 assists this season. They've literally played basically the same number of games. Fijarczyk has played 20 starts. Zvigawa 20 starts. He's been 2 off the bench appearances. That's about it. So you can see he's got double the number of goals and 3 times the number of assists. That, unfortunately, does spell the end for me of Wojciech Fijarczyk as a viable option for leading this line. Zvigawa is going to be leading this line for years to come, I can sense. He's winning a lot of these categories and he's only 16. Take that what you will. And this is where things start to get even more interesting. Carballo, 86% is good. Zvigawa, 83. Again, better than Fijarczyk, but not drastically better. At one point, it was as high as 89. Now that he's played more games, it's settled in a little bit more. Gian and Victor Luis haven't played a lot, but it is noticeably low. Escobar, again, has done all right in what little he has played. Chances per 90 minutes. Zvigawa, again, doing well with Carballo up there as well, doubling what Fijarczyk's done in that same period. Cross completion, not really that important. Passes completed, Carballo again. Fijarczyk and Zvigawa almost, you could throw a blanket over them at this point. Key passes per 90 minutes. Again, Carballo out in front. Fijarczyk does slightly outpace Zvigawa on that particular stat, though, which is nice. Escobar sort of struggling on that one, but those 3 you can kind of sort of take with a pinch of salt. Carballo has had a very, very good season. That's what I'm noticing the most here, is just how good he has been as our attacking midfielder this year. But I do wonder if there's room for a real marquee signing in that role to allow him to be the sort of backup and everybody else to just be the youngsters that are in and around the squad. I wonder if that's an area we could invest a big lump of money into. I don't know. Tackles 1. How are we doing defensively? This is interesting. Zvigawa 91, Fijarczyk 91. Again, Carballo in there with 83 and everybody else down below. Escobar's yet to actually win a tackle so far. Bit disappointing. Interceptions, how are we doing? Victor Luis, really good. Carballo, again, really good. Zvigawa a little bit off the pace on that one, so he's not been quite so good on the defensive side of things. Interesting. Headers 1, though. This should be him not that much better than Wojciech Fijarczyk. Hopefully, as he improves and he gets stronger and older, that will start to creep up. But again, it is still currently the best, so we can't really ignore that. Headers 1 per 90 minutes, again, is vastly better than everyone else. Team conceded per 90 minutes. How are we doing defensively? Victor Luis, so Zvigawa at 6'3", Fijarczyk at 7'5", so those 2 definitely the best again, Zvigawa and Carballo. Not that that is a huge shock to us at all at the moment. So what are we thinking? So next year, obviously, Mateusz Zvigawa, shadow striker, lead the line for us, brilliant. But we definitely need more bodies behind him. Fijarczyk is definitely going to be around, but I feel like we're just lacking. When he's not available, we do have Everton Escobar for the full season. We've got Victor Luis and Jan. They're all young and hungry, and maybe we should just accept the fact that they're going to get more game time next year and be all right with that. But I think the area where we really need backup is Carballo. He's been fantastic this year, but he's played 42 matches, and he's played more matches, I think, than anybody else in the entire team. And if he picked up an injury, we would have been absolutely buggered, because he has been phenomenal this year. And that's the reason he's managed to get so many goals, because he's played the entire season, So I think we need to really splash some cash on an attacking midfielder to play alongside Zvigawa. That way we can move Carballo back into being the supporting player there. So he'll still stick around the squad, definitely, but we'll actually have some depth then, because I really do like the guy. He's done really well for us in the 2 seasons he's been here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Maybe another shadow striker. It depends. We definitely need to sign in this position, I think, someone of actual quality, like real big quality, to play alongside Zviggy. So that's what we're looking at there. So DM absolutely needed, and maybe a marquee attacking midfielder as well to go with it. But I think there's one position where we absolutely need to sign big, and that's the right-hand side, particularly if we can't get Rafael Rodriguez. But we'll have a look at that now. Now, there isn't really a great deal of comparison to do here because Victor Hugo, who has played 42 games this year, with 44 if you count the 2 substitute appearances. So, yeah, he's basically had no one behind him. And that's been a real problem. If we'd have got an injury to Victor Hugo this season, we would have been screwed. As it was, though, he managed to play the entire season without fault and has been one of the best players in the league. In fact, he's been the best player in the league comfortably, along with Rafael Rodriguez. So, instantly, we need to sign another left winger because we don't have anyone, really. Literally no one. We've got Kuharski, and I've played Carballo there once, I think. That's about it. So, we'll compare him, sort of, but we're really looking at the difference between Zaborowski and Rodriguez, and it really is going to be stark, I'd say. So Victor Hugo, a goal, more than a goal every other game, but Rodriguez is nearly in there too with 16. Zaborowski, miles off the pace. 13 starts, 1 goal this season. I think that was against Lech, actually. Assists per 90 minutes. Rafael Rodriguez at 0.44 is a dominant assister. Zaborowski's not done too badly, but you can clearly see the difference between Rodriguez and Zabas. And then, obviously, Victor Hugo still has 8 assists, but it's not as good as the others, but then that's just not how we play. The left-hand side never gets as many assists. That's the goal-scoring side. But the difference with this year is that the right-hand side has also contributed 16 goals, and way more assists than I ever thought possible. And he's beaten Zabas' record. I think it was 11 goals he got 11 assists one season. In fact, we can check that, can't we, by actually having a little look at the poor lad. 10 he got one season. He got 5, 3, and then 3 this year as well. But Rafael Rodriguez has absolutely smashed that record by country mile. So there's that. In terms of chances created, once again, Rodriguez not that far behind as Zaborowski. He's done a very, very good job this year at keeping up and filling in, but he's just not got the quality going forward. Just no chance. And again, Victor Hugo way far off the pace on that one. Crosses completed. Zaborowski actually has the best cross completion of the bunch, so that's probably really helped him, I'd say. Part of the reason why he's been able to keep up is because he has been completing more crosses. Victor Hugo's done really well in that one too. Passes completed, Rodriguez and Victor Hugo out in front, but Rodriguez definitely out in front with Zabas just in behind. Key passes per 90 minutes, Rodriguez has been flying on that one. That's really been his bread and butter this year. Zaborowski's done reasonably well, but just nowhere in the same ballpark, is he? That's the thing. Shots on target, 64%. Victor Hugo at 56 is pretty decent. Zaborowski at 53 isn't too bad, but when you compare it to Rodriguez, it looks like nothing. Dribbles per game, Victor Hugo, nice. Rodriguez and Zaborowski, again, is doing okay at keeping up with these guys. He's just nowhere near as good as them, and it shows you to me how important the wingers' roles in this team are. So this is the area where there's going to need to be a buttload of investment in the summer, because if we can get Rafael Rodriguez back, I'm going to try and get him on a 2-year loan if we can. If we don't get him at all, then we're in trouble, because then I need to go out and really sign 2 right wingers and a left winger. We need someone who's going to be in the mould of Rafael Rodriguez, but he's never going to be as good if we can buy him. And we're also going to need a young understudy who's better than Zaborowski to play there as well and really stack that. And we also need a really high-quality youngster to play in behind Victor Hugo to actually give us some depth in that role. So that's my conclusions from this. So we really are very thin on the ground and could have been a much worse season had we got some serious injuries. You saw how much worse we were when Rodriguez wasn't in the team. Like, there was some real obvious differences. I just want to quickly show you as well, before we go on to the proper conclusions, the form report here for Victor Hugo. When he started having that ridiculous run of games, really kind of started with the Poznan game when he grabbed 2 goals. The next match, he got 2 assists and 3 goals. He then had a sort of game off against Cracovia, but then another brace. The next game, another goal. The game after that, another hat-trick. That was part of his 11 goals in April kind of role that he was on. He was just an absolute god this season. Overall, 42 appearances, 24 goals. Brilliant man. Right, so, conclusions. Defensive midfielder. Definitely need to sign a backup to Patino. High potential if we can. Potential idea of a marquee signing of an attacking midfielder as well to go ahead of Carballo, but at least someone to back up that role a little bit better with more stats that are more accustomed to that sort of thing. But, that's further down the priority list. The main priorities are either get Rodriguez back or sign someone in his kind of ilk, and then also a backup to that person as well. So potentially 2 people on the right. Going to set some short-term focuses for the scouts once we get our scouting budget through. And on the left-hand side, a backup to Victor Hugo who could hopefully surpass him one day maybe, so that we've actually got some rotation options in that role next year. So really we need 1 player, 2 players, maybe 5 or 6 players at the most, and then obviously I'll try and smatter in some young signings in there too. If they become available and I see anyone who's amazing, then obviously we'll pick them up as well just to bolster the squad. But those are where I'm looking for in terms of actually strengthening the team, and I hope you would agree on that one. So let's come up with the word of the day. Okay, so I'm looking on my desk and I've got this asthma season, so I've got my inhaler here. So the word of the day is Ventolin. There you go. Put that in the comments if you got this far into the video. We're already nearly an hour into this one, so this is going to be a bugger to edit, but as usual I will make it work. So if you've enjoyed this episode, which I hope you have, because I've actually really enjoyed looking at it. It's been a while since we've done this, and I think it's an important feature of this save. Then drop a like on the video to tell me to keep doing them. That'd be awesome. And if you're new to the channel and this is the first video of mine you're seeing, it's just a fun thing we like to do, and I'll join you guys in the next episode tomorrow. The transfer dredge will be back, and we'll be coming up with some brilliant transfers, hopefully. I've got a long time today to work on transfers, and I'm going to make the most of it, so I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.